Okay, well, let me ask you guys a question. How many people in here have played since Shadowbringers? If you've played since Shadowbringers, don't you guys feel like we're still in Shadowbringers, just with quality of life? You're not going to feel it to like the full extent if you haven't played the game for as long, but you got to feel it a little bit, right? If you started late in Shadowbringers, then you probably won't, but the people I'm asking are the people that started either at the very end of Stormblood or at the very beginning of Shadowbringers. So basically, if you started at the very beginning of Shadowbringers, you've had this entire like 2.5 years, right? How long was Shadowbringers? Because of COVID, it was like 3 years or something. You know what? Fuck it. This is the video right now. We're just going to make the video. Over the years, right, they've just made the game easier and easier and easier. Like, let's look back at the different expansion releases. Okay, we're going to paint now. Okay, this is A Realm Reborn to Heavenward. We're not going to go over every single change, but just some of them, just so we can get the point across, okay? Every job became harder and more risky, but higher reward. That's every job. Range became casters. Raids were way harder. So these are some changes. No, we didn't have cross-server play either. It wasn't in the first raid tier. Late Heavenward cross-server play. Yeah, it was late. It was a pain in the ass finding members. Yo, it was so funny. That's why Gilgamesh is so popular, because one of the world first teams, I think it was Layla's group, they happened to be on Gilgamesh and everyone wanted to join their FC. Wait, when did abilities reset on death? They didn't reset on death until creator. Nah, because I remember in A8, I raided with Chet, and he was Dark Knight, and at the very beginning of the fight, you could either Living Dead, the fucking missile, the laser shit, or you could cooldown it, and I remember we had the living pull and the no living pull, and the no living pull meant he didn't have Living Dead up, so we had to tank swap. You had to do invul and non-invul pulls on A8. Yeah, there wasn't Shirk. They still had cross-class skills, I think. Oh, you know what? Had to level sub-jobs to unlock real jobs. I'm pretty sure they still had this too. For those of you that don't know what this means, to unlock Paladin, you had to level a Conjurer to level like 15. Okay, so this was A Realm Reborn to Heavenward, right? Like I said, I'm not gonna go over like every single change. Heavenward to Stormblood. Stormblood to Shadowbringers. Shadowbringer to Endwalker. So Heavenward into Stormblood, okay? All jobs became easier and more forgiving. Raids became easier, and they were designed in a way to where you could no longer skip phases with DPS. So like back in the day, man, you used to be able to skip entire phases if your damage was high enough. Oh, you know what? Yo, this is a good one. Darkness damage. Remove darkness damage from raids. I'm pretty sure they removed darkness damage from raids, with the exclusion of Ultima. Technically, the last time there was darkness damage was Uwu. Darkness is still around, but it's only in Uwu. I'm pretty sure. Anything that's in Heavenward still has darkness damage in it. What's darkness damage? So darkness damage is a type of damage that bypasses damage-specific mitigation. I'm just gonna give you an example. If you're hit with darkness damage as a Dark Knight and you use Dark Mind, it will not mitigate that damage, because Dark Mind specifically says physical. Nowadays, everything is all damage except for Dark Mind. But shields and all damage mitigation still worked on darkness. It was only damage specific. Yeah, so they removed darkness damage from raids, because back in Heavenward, there was a ton of darkness damage all throughout. There was like Swindler, Onslaughter, Brute Justice. The original J-Kick would fucking push your shit in, because that J-Kick was darkness damage. When did they remove, when Astro had not dismantle, but disable, and Scholars had virus and shit, did they remove that in Stormblood? I can't remember. Stormblood, they removed accuracy, right? Removed accuracy and parry to put in direct hit and tenacity. Added job gauges. That was huge. Reworked cleric stance and how healers dealt damage. This one one's huge. This is what started the downfall of healers. Look at all these changes already. Now, those of you that have played from Shadowbringer to Endwalker, like when we get to this category, dude, it's gonna be fucking empty. Cross-class rework. Oh, CD reset as well. Late in Heavenward. No more sub-jobs. Attribute points. Holy fuck, man. Attribute points. Dude, this game used to be so fucking garbage. For those of you asking what the fuck attribute points were, so like there used to be this little button like right here, and you'd click on this button and it would pull up all of your stats, and you could place 20 extra points into whatever you wanted to for whatever reason. So like, let's say you were on Scholar. Okay. Oh, fuck. I don't have it leveled, but let's pretend I'm on Scholar. So for Scholar, you had to constantly use these things called Keeper's Hymns, and it would reset your points. And you had to put 20 points from Mind into Intelligence if you wanted to play Scholar and Summoner, because they use different main stats. Summoner used Intelligence for damage and healers use Mind. I still have Keeper's Hymns too. You could meld elements. Yeah. So we're just going to put melding rework. You used to be able to meld like fire and ice to your shit for whatever fucking reason. Here, I'll add gear rework too, because they had a gear rework. Basically, in the gear rework, they did it for Midas once, and then they did it again at the beginning of Stormblood. They changed tank gear. When was the fuck that they changed the limit break? Because bards used to have LB3, healer LB3. So this was early. Dude, look at all these changes from Heavenward to Stormblood. Holy fuck. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing when they came out with Heavenward. We could go on, but you guys get the point. There was a lot of shit from Heavenward to Stormblood that they changed. Okay, now Stormblood into Shadowbringers. All jobs became easier. Healers, one button DPS, tank rework, and threat management lull. TP gone. No more damage types. These are huge. Every single one of these are huge. All jobs became easier. Healers, one button DPS. Tank rework and threat management. TP gone. No more damage types. Like every single one of these is like a fucking banger. Like huge change, huge change, huge change. No boss crit. Damage types. Yeah, like blunt. You remember blunt and piercing and all that shit? See, it's been so long you don't even remember. Ultimate introduced. Stormblood was such a good fucking expansion. Large scale rating introduced. Now, let's seriously think what changed from Shadowbringers to Endwalker. All jobs got a little easier, but mostly just quality of life stuff. They play very similar to Shadowbringers. Here, you know what? I'm gonna put most, because I can't speak for all, but I could say most. Okay, so no belts. Jobs are now 1 minute and 2 minute windows. Healer cast times 1.5. See, here's the thing though. This only changed White Mage. I mean, I guess it kind of changed Scholar too a little bit, right? Like everything you guys are mentioning, 30-second combos, all invulns, that's just like most jobs got a little easier to play. Like all of that falls into this category. Okay, that's a good one actually. Summoner rework. That's a good one because Summoner did get reworked. Yeah, Unreal was right here. 5% party bonus was added at the beginning of Shadowbringers. Oh, stat squish. Yeah, stat squish. That doesn't change anything though, man. Like, I mean, it happened, but it doesn't really change anything. See, that's what I mean. You guys are digging for stuff. You guys are trying. That's my point here. You guys are trying to find things that have been changed. But the things that you guys are finding is like fucking minuscule. That's my whole point to this. The change from Shadowbringers to Endwalker was like virtually nothing. Like very, very little change. Look at A Realm Reborn to Heavenward. Every single job became harder. Range became casters. Raids were way harder. We still had cross-class skills. We still had sub-jobs. Most of you don't even know what darkness damage fucking is. You see all these things, man? And then compare it to now. No belts. Most jobs got easier. Jobs are now 1 minute and 2 minute windows. So look at Heavenward into Stormblood. All the jobs became easier. Raids became easier. They changed it to where you can't skip phases. They removed darkness damage. They removed accuracy and parry. They added job gauges. This is huge. They reworked cleric stance and how healers dealt damage. This is huge. Cross-class rework. Dude, I keep ooh-wooing that. Cross-class rework. I keep ooh-wooing that. I don't mean to. CD reset late in Heavenward. So like, that's my point to all this. Holy shit, man. You guys are really starting to fucking tilt me, man. Forget these categories. Forget the categories. Forget them. This is what happened in each expansion. This is what happened. So look, this is my point here. We are still in Shadowbringers, man. That's why that I feel like that there's burnout. All of the other expansions, we saw drastic changes. And this expansion, they played so fucking safe. They didn't change shit. That's why I haven't been in Party Finder near as much. It's because fuck me, man. The jobs are playing how they should have played in Shadowbringers for a lot of them. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of stuff that was added to the jobs should have just been caught through playtesting. That's just my point here. I think when they make a new expansion, I think that they should change things up. Even if it doesn't work out, I think they should take risks. Look at this timeline. They took a lot of risks in Heavenward, okay? And then they made it better. And in Stormblood, this is why I think that Stormblood was the best expansion, because they took risks and some of it didn't work out, but a majority of it did. Basically, the changes they made from A Realm Reborn to Heavenward, they spent the whole expansion trying to fix the things that were work. They perfected it in Stormblood and they added on to it. And then in Stormblood to Shadowbringers, they took what they had and they just made it easier and easier. I mean, it could be that they just found success, but Stormblood was also successful. Strummer went bald. Holy fuck, man, I went bald really early. No, that was Heavenward. No. That was Heavenward to Stormblood. The whole point of this is just to point out that, you know, the changes from Shadowbringers to Endwalker was a letdown to me. As far as creativity, Endwalker doesn't feel like an expansion. It just feels like an extension. Okay, so I agree to that. Like, basically, a lot of the changes, a lot of different stuff, it's still Shadowbringers worthy. Like, the raid fights are designed the same. The jobs are pretty much the same. Everything you do in the game is pretty much the same. It didn't really change much. Is it a good thing or bad thing? It's a bit of both. I'm not gonna say they're lazy. I don't think they're necessarily lazy. I just feel like that their focus was on other stuff during this expansion. That's all. Shadowbringers to Endwalker we didn't really get anything. It just kind of hit me the other day when they changed so much to PvP. PvP feels so fucking good, man. It's really fun. I'm thinking about it, right? And I'm thinking about why it's so fun. Why is the PvP so fun? It's because every job feels like it's supposed to feel. That's not the case in PvE anymore. Like, does it matter what tank you play for any content? Honestly, does it? No. The ultimate is coming up. Is it gonna matter? No, I don't think it will matter. They're gonna tune that ultimate to where there's 0 DPS checks, it's all mechanics, and every single fucking job is gonna be viable. People asking me, what tank you playing? Doesn't matter. I'm gonna play warrior just because I'm the most comfortable. Back in the day, you couldn't do that. You had to play the meta. Now there's kind of not a meta. The only way that a meta exists is if other jobs are severely undertuned, which it does happen, but that's not the meta because it's meta. That's just because they fucked up. So there's a difference. If they come out with jobs and all of the jobs are good, but then there's some jobs that are significantly better, then that is when the meta is created. Like, I'm not a big fan of meta because I don't like playing jobs that I just don't like, but I like how there used to be choices. There used to be options. So like back in Stormblood, there were like options, there were choices, right? Like Dark Knight brought more magic defense, you know, so it was like better on certain fights than other tanks. You know, Paladin with cover was fucking busted. You know, Warrior was super good, you know? Basically, the tanks had their advantages. The DPS had their advantages and shit. But now it's just like, does it matter what you play? Not really. Just to sum this up, man, because I feel like we've been talking about this for way too long. If you just kind of look at these, right? Like, look at these major changes. Look at all of these major changes in all of the previous expansions. Every single one of these is a game changer, or pretty much a game changer, right? Or it adds content. And you look at what we got in Endwalker. Does it matter that we have no belts? Not really, other than it's a little better on the first turn. They could have left belts in and the game would have been pretty much the same, except for now we don't have an extra item in the first turn. Jobs are now 1 and 2 minute. Okay, great. Now everything is streamlined. So now Square Enix is optimizing for us too. Healer cast time to 1.5. This is pretty much just put in the game for white mages, right? Maybe a little bit of scholar. Summoner rework. Now this is pretty huge. They basically made a whole new job. Does the stat squish matter? I mean, not really. Doing 100,000 damage to 10,000 damage, that doesn't There's one less zero. Yeah, monk rework. This right here is a big thing. This is probably the biggest downside to me. Most of the jobs, they stayed the same, but not only did they stay the same, but they got easier. And the things that they received was just quality of life. So I guess the question is this bad? Not all bad, but it's not all good either. I'm not trying to spread Endwalker's bad. I very much enjoy Endwalker, okay? I'm just trying to point out that in previous expansions, a lot has changed. And in this expansion, we kind of didn't get anything. Like, I remember when I looked at like the job changes, one of the most exciting things to me was the fact that Delirium and Inner Release were 60 seconds. That's not even a new skill. You guys don't understand. I'm just gonna ooh-woo for the rest of this fucking video.
When we went from A Realm Reborn to Heavenward, every job got way harder and more risky.
They basically changed every job. How do you go from changing every job to only reworking 2? And then they did it again in Shadowbringers. Obviously, some of this stuff they can't repeat again, right? So let's look at darkness damage. Obviously, this should never have been in the fucking game. Okay, cross-class skills. They should have never been in the fucking game. This is just shit that's left over from like when they wanted the game to be like 11 and it failed and it burned and hopefully it never comes back and it's never going to come back and we can all celebrate. But just because that they remove some of this shit, that doesn't give them the pass to just like be lazy. Not in my book. Don't fix it if it ain't broke. That's the problem. It becomes stale. I feel like in MMOs, you need to take a little bit of a risk to change things up. I think overall, what they've done to the game has been absolutely phenomenal, actually. I think that overall what they've done is super good. I just think that some of the stuff could be better. And now I'm not expecting perfection. It's just unrealistic to expect perfection. So that's why I'm not like pissed. Like I'm not down about it. I'm not pissed. I've been thinking a lot about this ever since PvP came out. And I'm like, why am I having so much fun? Okay, because let me tell you, the PvP in this game is actually trash. It's actually trash, but it's really fun. And let me explain why it's trash. Because of the fucking server tick. PvP is never going to be like 10 out of 10 in this game, okay? Because of the server ticks. I was thinking about why I'm having so much fun with PvP. And I'm having so much fun with PvP because the jobs, they have a different feel to them. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I play Warrior, Tank, Paladin, Gunbreaker, it all feels the fucking same. What does it matter if you take a Warrior, if you take a Paladin, or if you take a Gunbreaker? The only thing that's different is the top tier damage discrepancy. That in itself doesn't matter unless you're trying to go for a speed clear. There are reasons to do that type of stuff. I'm not saying there's no reason. I'm just saying in most cases, there isn't a reason. That's all I'm trying to say. PvE wise, we are still in Shadowbringers for a majority of jobs. They didn't change anything. It kind of makes me a little sad because I'm not really enjoying Party Finder near as much as I used to because I still feel like we're in Shadowbringers, even though we're in a brand new expansion. Wow, we really talked about this for like a fucking hour and a half just for me to say, man, you know, I really have fun with PvP right now. Maybe instead of expansion comparison, maybe the video should be called Why I Have Fun with PvP. I refuse to believe that the PvP team and the PvE team are separate entities. That's why we did not get reworked jobs in Endwalker and PvE, because they spent all their time in PvP. Like, what timeline are we living in? Endwalker is the PvP expansion. The whole thing got reworked. All the jobs got reworked, and they just left PvE and Shadowbringers. That's my point to this video.